Hey retailers, welcome to this week's workshop, which I'm calling the Cash Accelerator Workshop for you retail business owners. For those of you who are just new and joining me, my name is Alvin. I am the retail business coach that helps retailers improve their cash flow and profitability so that they can create more time and freedom for themselves. So today's mini workshop is going to be about some of the ways that you can quickly flush your bank account with cash. It's one of the strategies that I used to use when I was running my retail pharmacies. It's a strategy that I use with my clients. And it's one of the unknown ways, or I wouldn't say unknown, but it's one of the most forgotten ways of freeing up excess cash in your business. There is a worksheet associated with this. So if you want a copy of the worksheet, just pop the word accelerator below. And we will get it out to you. Also appreciate it if you're watching this, just smash the like button, share it if you believe that somebody else might find this useful, and tag them as well. And I'd always love some feedback. So if you think I should change my glasses, change my hairstyle, pass me all that feedback as well. So I'll just rock and roll into it, and and we'll just have a little bit of fun. Let me just roll up my presentation up here. Fantastic. All right, so here we go. This is the Cash Accelerator Workshop. Like I said, if you want a copy of the worksheet, just pop the word accelerator in the comments below. So, as retailers, one of the main problems that we have is we have all this excess inventory, right? Maybe, we've got bought too much in a previous trading cycle, or we've misanticipated a particular special or promo time of the year, or some of you franchise owners, you might be lugged with stock from your head office. And the main problem with this is, and we all know this as retailers, is like we have all this money tied up in our stock that's sitting on our shelves waiting to be sold. And in some cases, hopefully not, but in some cases, we have a lot of this stock sitting out in our storerooms, in our back office, even underneath our gondolas, hidden away so no one can see them. And what we all realize is this stock is just like cash sitting there. And what happens is when we've got stock sitting on our shelves, that's money tied up. And if we haven't sold that, that means we haven't converted it into cash. This is all basic stuff, I know. But what happens is if we haven't sold our items, typically I would say in a retail cycle, about 3 months, we've actually lost that money, because we've got to think about it. What kind of return are we getting on our investment? So we're outlaying cash to buy stock, and then we're going to sell it for a profit. But what happens is if we've outlaid the cash and we haven't sold that stock, the stock is sitting on our shelves. 3 months later, it's now, what we call dead stock, right? Because it's just sitting there not doing anything. And you really need to become efficient and think about, well, if that cash was better utilized. So if that cash was sitting in our bank account, we'd be earning interest. We could possibly use that use that cash that we would have tied up in that stock to reinvest in more promotions or more stock, even, or heck, even pay yourself, right? So that's the really big problem that we have as retailers, is this sense that this ability that we've got to juggle all of this stock. And as we all know, a lot of our retail businesses are seasonal, so we have to go with the ebb and flow of what our market wants and what our target market requires. So this is the major problem, one of the major problems that we have as retailers, right? And the cause of this, well, really, if we take the time to think about it, one of the major causes of having too much stock is that we've bought incorrectly. We haven't really understood our market cycles, or maybe, like I said, we've been lumped with stock from our head office. Somebody, your purchaser, or maybe yourself, or the buying person, has made some wrong decisions in forecasting. And really what happens is it just gets stuck on our shelves and hopefully not in our storerooms. And running a day-to-day retail business is really challenging. I know that. And we're too busy running around, putting out fires, doing the rostering, doing the HR stuff, and it sort of gets really, really, it can get really overwhelming. And, I'm sure this has happened to you. This used to happen to me in the beginning all the time, right? Like you're trying to run your business and then you kind of thinking about, damn, fuck, I've got all this extra stock, which I could probably be doing something with, and it's just piling up, collecting dust. But we just never get around to it. It's really, really annoying, right? It can get super, super annoying. So that's usually what happens when we don't have the foundation set up in our business, hence the photo with the house falling apart. But usually it's part of our planning and making sure that we've got systems in place to ensure that this doesn't happen. And if it does happen, what are we going to do about it, right? What strategies, what plan, what systems do we have in place so that we can get rid of all this excess stock and flush our bank account with cash? Once we get it right, so once we get this part of our business right, which in terms of buying properly, making sure that we have a system in place to rapidly turn our excess slash dead stock into cash. Once we have a system in place to ensure that people are doing the buying correctly, we're forecasting correctly, all the basic stuff that we should be doing as retailers. But like I mentioned before, we're too busy, snowed under in the day-to-day running of our store. Once we get this right, then we will obviously flush our bank account with cash, because we're going to have a system. And you see the big retailers doing this really well, is once an item is past season or past due, and they haven't sold it, they just slash the price in an intelligent way, and that's to convert it into cash. Now, for whatever reason, as retail business owners in the small to medium space, we tend to hang on to our stock I guess because we've outlaid our own physical money and we're thinking this might eventually sell. But really, what I hopefully want to get you to realize by the end of this is we really need to cut our losses short. And so, if it's dead, and, we need to figure out what dead means to our business, 3 months, 2 months. And we need to really let go of this idea that we're going to eventually sell this stock and slash it out, convert it into cash. There are so many different ways of doing that. But needless to say, once we get this right, this is a really quick, fundamental way of turning excess stock into cash and flushing our bank account with cash. And so, this is one of the top strategies that as retailers, we can use to flush our bank account with cash and, really have our cash flow flying on all cylinders. So, I'm sure we all want to do this, right? We all want to make sure that we have excess cash in our bank account. Cash is good because it helps pay our bills, helps pay our team, helps us reinvest in stock. And, also the main thing, some of that excess cash you can use for yourself in starting to pay yourself a little bit. So really, really important that once we get that right, that we can start implementing some of these systems. Whoops, just got a little bit distracted. There we go. All right. So how do we go about doing this? So what you need to do, right? So these are the steps that you need to take in your retail business to fix this problem. And, using what we've got here, hopefully in the next 7 days, you can put together this plan for your retail business. And it really does not matter what kind of retail business you have. Like I said, I was in the pharmacy game. It's all stock, stuff you're buying and selling, and hopefully not keeping on the shelves. And really, what we want to be doing, and I really want to reiterate it, is really get rid of that shit. So we need to get rid of that excess stock, right? Okay, cool. All right, so here's what we need to do. So, damn, this thing, I can't get this right. Okay, so the second thing we need to do, we'll start on number 2 again, is run point of sale reports. So hopefully we're all using a point of sale system. It's really important to be doing retailing in the modern day times that we do have a point of sale system, because what we need is access to data. Obviously, the data needs to have a certain amount of data integrity. And, because only once we can start to pull these reports, we can start to intelligently make decisions and figure out what stock is dead. Number 3, what happened to number 1? I have no idea. I'll just roll with it. So once we've run our POS reports, our point of sale reports, we need to determine, like I touched upon earlier, what is dead stock in our business. So we all have different types of retail businesses. I would argue that for most of us, 3 months would be about the time where you decide it's like dead stock. Because once you think about it, you've bought the stock, you've given it, a good 6 to 8 weeks, hopefully to turn it over into cash. And if it hasn't sold in 6 to 8 weeks, there's not going to be really a way that you would expect to sell it in the upcoming weeks as well, and then it just becomes dead because it just starts to sit on your shelf. So, and hopefully not your back office. So you need to figure out what dead stock is for your retail business. You need to cut. Where is number one? You need to come up with a strategy. So we need to come up with a retail strategy in our business on how we're going to get rid of excess stock. Now, there are so many ways of doing this, right? You can slash the prices, but that's only one component. You can re-merchandise them. You can put them in different areas of the store. You can offer them as bundles as part of your solution selling program. You can also do some really creative things like we used to do. You can sell them on eBay, Craigslist, wherever you are. You just need to get creative in how you turn this over. And for quite a lot of us, we might also be able to sell wholesale back to some other retailers as well within our network. Sometimes we can send it back to our wholesalers, but good luck if you can do that as well. But the gist of it is that we need to come up with a strategy to get rid of the excess stock. Oh my God, number one. Obviously, and the main thing we need to do is we need to have a plan in place, right? So I've just worked backwards in here, but it surprises me. Well, it actually doesn't surprise me that as retailers, we really don't have a plan in place. And I think this applies to all areas of our business. Having a plan for all the things that are really important to our business is so important. And it's really about taking the time to step back, understanding where the blockages are in your business, and in this case, the excess stock component, and coming up with a plan. And like I mentioned, we need to run the POS reports, determine what dead stock means to our business, and come up with a strategy on how we're going to get rid of it. And the main thing that we need to do here is we need to do it weekly, right? So this is a process that we need to run through every week. So it might be a little bit overwhelming to do it weekly, but I would argue that as retailers, a lot of retailers that I've come across, we have so much stock. And if this is an endemic thing that's happening in our business, the over purchasing, the mismanagement, of stock, the wrong purchasing, and sometimes we just get stuck with stock, right? Because we've tried to forecast our season as best as we can, and sometimes we fuck up, and this is just part of the game of retailing, right? So we just need to make sure that we run this process weekly. Eventually we want to get to the stage where you have a retail manager in your business who's doing this as part of their job description and KPIs. But initially we'll be doing it ourselves as the owner. Okay. And that's going to be so important because it's just going to open up your eyes to what's actually going on in your business. So we need to do it weekly, do it ourselves for perhaps the first few months. And then this is something that we can pass on to our retail managers. I guess, like I said, if you want a copy of this worksheet, just pop the word accelerator below. The team will get it out to you. So hopefully you're finding this useful so far. All right. So in summary, let's see if we'll go with the 2. Of course, it starts with number 2. So in summary, just to reiterate, we need to understand the causes of why we're having all this excess stock in our business. What are the fluctuations that are happening? Who's doing the buying? How are we stuffing up? And understanding what's going on. Hey, number 1 came before 3. Hilarious. So now, and we also need to create a system. So I'm really such a stickler on systems. To have success in our business, we really need to systematize everything, because this is how we step away from the day-to-day running of our business, by creating systems. But also the system, it gives your team a strategy to follow. And it's really important for your team to know what to do to grow your business, to make it profitable, that you have a system in place. So that's what we need to do. So we'll start with number 1, create a system. Number 2, we need to understand what's causing this excess stock to accumulate in our business. We need to analyze the data. So we need to run those point of sale reports, like I mentioned, determine what is dead stock for our business, and we need to get rid of it, come up with a strategy to get rid of it really quickly. And the last thing, I think, is we need to take action. So it's really, really important that we actually use this information So, like a lot of us retailers, we've got access to so much data, hopefully, and so many things that we could be doing. And it really can get to a stage of analysis paralysis. So I would really challenge you that, you start to take action. Once we have it in our system, we're doing it weekly, and we're actually starting to put that strategy in place, right? So important. Okay, that's the end of that presentation. Like I said, if you want a copy of the worksheet, just pop the word accelerator below. I would really appreciate if you could smash the like button, tag somebody that you think might find this super, super useful. And if you have any questions, pop them in the comment section below. Kimberly, you're welcome. Great. Good to see you. And I can't see the other person there that's watching this. Awesome. So until next Thursday, hopefully you've got enough information here to put this in place and start the process in your retail business. And until next time, we shall speak again. Yeah, cool. Much love. Catch you later.